Everybody, this is Daniel from Stock Force One. Today we'll discuss how to allocate in a trade and how much to allocate in a trade. It will be very short and very briefly. First of all, we'll discuss about a small company, APDN. For example, we're going this one, we're thinking to go long, but you got to pay attention, especially to the float. If the float is small, like 10 million and maybe below 5 million, please allocate very little. But don't allocate 1% because everybody is telling you to allocate 1% because this is a narrative everywhere, and in all the books, trading books, they are talking about 1% from your account. No, this is shit. Why? 1% or to allocate 1% is coming from the brokers, because brokers want you alive in trading, to eat your alive, of course, to eat your account little by little. So they need liquidity for as long as possible from everybody. Now, if you want to trade and you want to make money in trading, you gotta put some money in trading, not 1%, but at least 5% from your account. But here in the account, you are talking about equity, your money, and leverage account. And generally, when you are entering the trade, you need a leverage account. Why? To take all the opportunities you can take in the market. And I'm talking about long and short. And in order to short the company, you are obliged to have a leverage account, otherwise, or a margin account. Otherwise, you are not allowed. So, for example, you have 1,000 US dollars in your account. This is your equity. And the possibility of your margin is something like 6 times, okay? The leverage 6 times. So you got available 6,000. If you have a very small float, this trade can be very dangerous, okay, especially for the shorters. But for the people on long, you got to look where is it, what is the depth, and what is the market cap. They need some money to finance. So on this one, my proposal, okay, you enter 10%, 15%, 20% here, but you enter little by little, 5% here, 5% here, 5% here, 20% here. At the same time, you got to understand the concept. As much experience you have in trading, and as you know better the setups, especially the shadow patterns in our courses, and you are specialists in shadow patterns, or you know them more and more and more, you'll be more, let's say, certain that this pattern will happen. Without a pattern, don't enter a trade, because the patterns are repetitive. So if one pattern has happened 100 times, 200 times, 300 times, it's possible that will happen another time 100%. So you have to think in percentages of events happening, and your event, your setup, your pattern, and so on is possible to happen more than 90%. So as the event is happening more than 90%, you can allocate more. So you are certain that you will not lose, not that you will win. So you got to calculate the certainty of not losing. It's like in poker. In poker is not a game of luck. You got to calculate the percentages of not losing, and if it's possible, to know what the other people have in their hand. This is the main concept of how much you are allocating in a trade. And the type of allocation is little by little. Don't enter with a whole position at one time. Just 5% here, 5% here, 5% here from your position. For example, you got an account of 1,000 and you are allocated 100. Okay, in this one. So you enter here 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 100 to here. And you're exiting here. So you are taking the whole profit from here. Simple as that. If you are entering the short position, you are doing the same. 10 here, 10 here, 10 here, 10 here, 10 here. Out here with all of it. Again, simple as that. But if you are talking about a company like this one, okay, with a higher float, when it's about a higher float, this is moving slower than the smaller float. So you'll not be exposed to so much risk, but you got to be very careful. So in these ones, you can, from the start, you can allocate more, not 5%, but 10%, not 10%, but 20%, and so on, because these are moving slower than the other ones. So you'll be exposed to low risks. When it's about Apple, for example, I know the big guys, the big stocks, you have to have a lot of liquidity. And when it's about a lot of liquidity, let's discuss a little bit about the money in your account. To 250,000, you can apply all the shadow patterns we're presenting in our courses, but about 250,000 to 500,000, there is different rules in the market, rules of liquidity. When it's about, let's say 500,000, as I told you, and 1 million, you got to be very careful how you are allocating, and you got to be specialized into financial statements. You got to understand what are the figures of this company, and also in terms of 80%, okay, and 20% in technical analysis. Also, you need to understand how to allocate, and you need to understand the gaps here. What is happening is these gaps, and generally you got to analyze it at 15 minutes. This we have included in our courses also. Not begging you to buy it, don't buy it please, but you lose a lot of money. So in this company, when you are allocating above 250,000, the rules of the game is changing completely. So you have a different kind of rules. That's it. So, and here you are allocating, for example, 500,000. You are not allocating 100,000 at a time. You are allocating in little bulks. So you are allocating 1,000, 1,000, 1,000. You need a system to allocate. Otherwise, the market maker are seeing you what you are doing there, because they are seeing level 3, and level 3 is seeing who is allocating, where is entering, and where is exiting. You gotta play stealth, okay, like planes nobody sees, like B2 or I don't know, all this technology. So you gotta work under the cloak of invisibility, simple as that. So that's pretty much what you need to know about allocating, and a little bit about liquidity in allocation. I hope you have enjoyed this information and this episode. Please follow and like, and don't forget to have a look at those links down below. Daniel out.